Penobsquis is sinking. You might not be able to tell at first glance, but the ground around PotashCorp's two mines is shifting in a process called subsidence. To say citizens are concerned is an understatement. Houses have been damaged. Fields that were once valuable cropland are now flooding where they didn't before. Roads and railways in the town have cracked and shifted. Residents of Penobsquis say these problems are all because of subsidence. PotashCorp says this is not the case. With the construction of the new Piccadilly mine, citizens allege the ground is shifting even more. But is mining really the root of the problem? Beth Nixon is a concerned citizen of Penobsquis. She was active in the town's legal battle against PotashCorp in 2011 after experiencing issues with her land and water. She says these issues are linked to the mine.
These people redid their septic system twice in the last 6 or 7 years. These people lost their swimming pool to a big sinkhole. It's all documented in natural resources files.
Wow.
This was the house we lived in before we moved over to my parents' place.
Yeah.
And we had problems with the septic system there, and we lost our water, but now it's on the water system.
Those people lost their water and their swimming pool, you said?
Yes.
They're going to be interesting. We should try and...
They won't talk about the swimming pool.
No?
No. It's interesting that they don't talk about the sinkhole and the swimming pool, but it's all documented in natural resources files.
And they won't admit it, though, if you ask them about it.
Right, but think about why they wouldn't do that.
Can they, does one of them work in the mine?
Oh, he's his firm contracts to the mine, but there's you have signed a confidentiality agreement. Yeah. A lot of these places have had different problems where maybe the ground's falling away from basements, or they've had issues with septic systems, and they've pretty much all lost their water.
In an email, the general manager of PotashCorp NB said, "We do not believe our operation is connected to the water loss." Complaints of subsidence were found to be unsubstantiated by the commissioner at the time. We have nothing new to add to this matter. This table is usually reserved for good friends and a bottle of rum, but tonight, there's a more serious issue on the table.
My experience with subsidence is here in the house, is the fact that I have a tile kitchen floor, and every day there seems to be a new tile that's either cracked or, it's just not before. I mean, I've had the tile down probably 10 years, and I can't wait to get rid of it, because it breaks my heart, because I think I put all that money into a tile floor, and it just keeps, you look and there's a tile over here that's cracked, and then the next day you go over and there's another one over here that's cracked. And it was expensive to put it down. I see the changes in the landscape.
Chris says that while taking her dog Jake for walks, she's noticed damages to roads and sidewalks. Chris doesn't think PotashCorp is only responsible for damages to her home and the village infrastructure.
I know there's a farm in the area that they've got 20 acres of land that they can't hay, they can't use because it's underwater.
You can see there's where it's bowing out in the wall here, and then there's a crack that comes down here.
Meet Heather McCabe. She runs a sanctuary for dogs and cats in Penobsquis. Along with damages to her walls, she claims subsidence has also taken its toll on her back deck, regardless of the cement stabilizer poles that were drilled below the frost line.
Point where the back steps actually had moved to the point where they blocked the door and we couldn't open the door.
In addition to damages to doors and windows, Heather has also discovered something a little more alarming.
We had 2.5-inch drop in our roof, like a dip, and then there was a spot in the roof where it went up 1.5 inches. So my value on my house when I bought it for the government property assessment was $67,000. Within 3 years of us buying it, it was down to $18,000.
People would like to receive compensation from PotashCorp for damages, but last time they went to court, things didn't unfold the way they planned.
We feel that we really weren't given our day fairly. We were outgunned, outmaneuvered, outmoneyed, big time. We didn't stand a chance. We didn't stand a chance, and that I think that's why people are still still upset about it is because they don't feel that they were given a fair shake at it.
Chris says that hiring a better lawyer wasn't an option since 80% of the citizens involved were seniors on a fixed income. She also says she would have liked to hear from subsidence experts that had no affiliation with the potash industry.
It's big business, it's greed, and that's what it all boils down to. It's the almighty dollar and greed, and they've got way more money and way more power than the average person does, and you don't realize how powerful they are until you go up against them, and you realize that they have very long arms and very deep pockets.
The citizens of Penobsquis are disappointed with how they've been treated by PotashCorp. They don't necessarily want to get rid of the mine. It employs many local residents and funds community activity committees. But they do want PotashCorp to pay for damages to land and private property. Johnny Cullen, Stu Journalism, Penobsquis.